All right, kiddos, today we are doing our math workbook, page 416, and then we are going to do the front side of the homework and remembering 6-8. So we are going to be looking at some story problems, and we'll do some of these together, okay? And then I like to leave some for you to do as well. The biggest thing with these is to make sure that you're reading them carefully, okay? And just, as we're doing them, we're going to be writing down some things to help us, okay? Because you can't just do these in your head. You have to write some things down. So let's look at the first one, which is number 4. Son Me picked 14 apricots. Celia picked 5 fewer apricots. So she's 5 less than Son Me. She picked 5 fewer apricots than Son Me. How many apricots did Son Me and Celia pick all together? Okay, so we have a couple of steps here, multi-step. So we're gonna put the names down of the people. So we have Son Me. So I'm just gonna put SM for her, and then I have Celia. So let's go back up in our problem and write down some things to help us. So at the beginning it says Son Me picked 14 apricots. Okay, I'm going to write that down. Celia picked 5 less than that. She picked 5 less than her friend. So I'm going to need to do 14 minus 5 to figure out how many Celia got. Okay, can you do 14 minus 5? Okay, did you get 9? So this is what they have so far. Okay, now let's look at our question at the end. How many apricots did Son Me and Celia pick together? Well, guess what? I've already written all this down, so now I have my 2 numbers here. I'm just going to need to write my equation on the line, 14 plus 9, to figure out how many apricots they picked together. Okay, you just kind of want to break that story problem down, because sometimes it's overwhelming when you look at the words. Okay, so just take your time, and oftentimes you have to read it a couple times. Even Mrs. Hagen has to do that. Okay, and so you'll solve and you'll figure that out. All right, let's look at number 5. Annie took 8 photographs at home and 7 photographs at school. Her sister Amanda took 6 fewer photographs than Annie. How many photographs did Amanda take? Okay, we've got 2 A names, don't we? We've got Annie, so we'll put AN for her, and then we've got Amanda. You can also write them out if you want. But we want to write down how many photographs they took so we don't get confused by all the words. So let's go back up to Annie. She took 8 photographs at home and 7 at school. It doesn't really matter where she took them. We just need to know how many did she take. Okay, so I'm going to do 8 plus 7 to figure out how many she took. 8 plus 7 equals. All right, and I can figure that out over here. 8 plus 7. I bet you can figure it out too. Okay, did you get 15? So now we know that Annie has 15. Now let's look what her sister did. Her sister Amanda took 6 fewer than Annie. Okay, well I know that Annie took 15 and her sister took 6 less, so I'm going to say 15 minus 6 to get that answer. Okay, and that actually is our equation that we can actually put on our line too, because that's going to give us our answer. So we can write it down here too, because it's always nice to have your equation. We talked about this earlier in the year. Equation on the line, answer, and then label. I bet you remember doing that. We used to write that at the top at the beginning of the year, right? You've learned so much. So do 15 minus 6 to figure out how many photos, okay, she took. Okay, so notice when I write the things down on the side, it really helps me solve it easier. I'm not going to get overwhelmed by all the words. Okay, all right, let's look at number 6. there are 5 sheep, 3 goats, and some, that's a question mark, rabbits in the petting zoo. Altogether, there are 15 animals in the zoo. How many rabbits are there? So see, we're going to figure out how many rabbits there are. Okay, because we know there's 15 altogether. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to add up the animals that I do know. I do know that there are 5 sheep. I'm going to put S for sheep plus 3 goats. And how many animals does that make? Doesn't matter if they're sheep or goats, they're still animals. So I'm going to add those up, 5 plus 3, and that's 8. And I know that all together there's 15. So what do I need to do to figure out the rabbits? I need to take my total, which is 15, okay, and I need to take away the sheep and the goats, which was 8, and that will give me my rabbits, right? Yep, just break it down slowly. So figure that out and write it on the line. You guys got that. The problems themselves are actually pretty easy because they're just smaller subtraction or addition problems, right? All right, let's look at number 7. A new library opened on Saturday. The library lent out 234 books on Saturday. On Sunday, they lent out 138. By the end of the weekend, 78 books were returned. How many books were not returned? Okay. So let's think about what we do know. Okay. Okay, we want to figure out how many books they lent out. That's the first thing we want to do. Well, I know on Saturday they had 234, right? That's Saturday. I'm going to put SA. And then on Sunday, they lent out 138 books. So that's SU for Sunday. I need to figure out, I'm good at 3-digit plus 3-digit, aren't I? I need to add that up and figure out their total books. Okay, that's my first step. Remember, these are multi-step. And then once I get that answer, I need to look at, I remember now that there were only 78 brought back. So how many were not brought back, right? So let's go ahead and add that. I've got 8 plus 4, 12. 3 plus 3 plus 1, 7. 2 plus 1 is 3. All right, now I know how many books they gave out. And I know that there were only 78 that came back. So what do I want to do with those two numbers to figure out how many were not yet returned? Would I do plus or minus? Okay, did you say minus? I hope you did. I'm going to find another space up here to do that, okay? Because I'm going to do 372, take away 78. I got this. Okay, and that's going to be your job. And right away, when I say 2 take away 8, I can't do that, can I? I need to go next door and borrow. So don't forget to borrow on that one. And then when you get your answer, you're going to put it right down here on the line. And then books. Okay? So that is your job right there. Okay? If you want to pause the video until you get that part done. Okay? All right, and then I'm going to leave, this is going to be extra credit on this page, and I think a lot of people are going to try to do it because it looks like a fun one. And then number 8 is the one that I want you to do by yourself, okay? I'm going to read it to you, however. So number 8 says, Katie had 8 dimes and some nickels in her duck bank. She had 4 more nickels than dimes. She took out 5 nickels to put in her coin purse. How many nickels are in her duck bank now? Okay, seems overwhelming, doesn't it? But let's start at the beginning. Okay, we're going to write down, we're going to talk about Katie, what she's got. Okay, so at the beginning, she had 8 dimes and some nickels in her bank. Okay, we don't know how many yet, but we do know that she had 4 more nickels than dimes. Okay, so I'm going to write down Katie, she has for dimes, and then we're going to write down nickels, right? So at the beginning, she has 8 dimes. We know that, okay? And then we found out that she has 4 more nickels than dimes. So I'd have to go 8 plus 4 to figure out her nickels, wouldn't I? Because she had 4 more of those than she did of the dimes. Okay, so you're going to want to figure that equation out. Okay, and then once you get that answer, okay, then it says she took out 5 nickels. So whatever answer you get right here, she took 5 of those nickels out and put them in her purse. So how many nickels are going to be left? You can do it. Mrs. Hagen gave you a few steps there. So, and try the extra credit one, guys. You're getting ready for 4th grade, right? All right, so then meet me on just the front side of 6-8. All right, so this is the one where you're going to work kind of on your own to get these done. I'm going to do a couple. I actually kind of feel like these are almost a little bit easier than the ones that we did on the other page. They're not quite as long, okay? So go ahead and draw your lines over just so that you have room over there to separate your work. Okay, and we're only doing the front side here, guys. Okay, let's look at the first one. Todd's dad cut 12 slices of mango. Okay, right, underline. Todd ate 4 of them. Then Todd's mom cut 6 more. We're going to want to break this down slowly. How many slices of mango were left? Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Just looking at that first sentence. Todd's dad cut 12 slices of mango. Todd ate 4 of them. So if he starts with 12 and he eats 4 of them, I have to take those away, right? To get that first answer. Okay, but then we're not done. What is 12 minus 4? Okay, well, you said 8. Okay, now we're to the next step. And then it says, then Todd's mom cut 6 more slices. Okay, so what do we need to do with that 8? Okay, we had 8. She cut 6 more, so we need to add those on to get our final answer. So even though it seems confusing when you read it, if you just write notes on the side here to help you, it's not going to be that bad. Okay? So you are going to find out how many slices were left at the end. And of course, we always remember to do our labels. Equation, answer, label. And when I say equation, these are your equations over here. They don't always have to be on the line because I'm looking at your work in the show your work section. Okay? The next one looks very similar to that. Okay? Jennifer picked 3 daffodils, 9 daisies, and some, put a question mark there, tulips for her mother. Altogether, she picked 16 flowers. So we know how many she had all together. How many tulips did she pick? So the first thing I want to do is I want to write down what I do know. I know there's 3 daffodils and 9 daisies. So that would be 3 plus 9 to figure out how many those were, and then we know that the question mark is going to be the extra, the tulips. So I'm going to add that up, and when I get that answer, okay, that's going to be, write my answer down there, and then I know there's 16 all together, okay, so then I'm going to take 16, take away whatever you got up here, okay, to get your final answer, okay. Going to need to figure those out. All right. Yep, just take your time. You can do it. All right. Good job today, guys.